Let's hope the Japanese director will follow Ayrton Senna, because I got a feeling this is going to be new tyres and bingo.
Well, two things are going to be important for Senna, but both overlap. One is that you've got to get a clear lap, and that's not easy. There's been a big problem throughout. Already we're in our second day of running here. Traffic on the circuit has been a major problem for everybody. But the second problem is that the way the tyre is working in relation to the track surface, it appears that your first flying lap is your quickest lap. So it is absolutely vital to get out at a point where you judge the circuit to be clear and be lucky in getting a clear lap. And if everything works correctly, you don't make an error, you don't spin off in first corner, well, then you've got a shot.
Well, of course, Senna, a master in getting that one lap absolutely right. And on the right we see Michael Schumacher's time, and Ayrton being very close indeed. Senna 0.07 of a second slower than Michael Schumacher, and we're going on to the second intermediate point. Again on the right, Michael Schumacher's time, and now Ayrton Senna is faster than the German. So halfway around the circuit, it's Senna.
But this is the critical corner. Oh, and Senna very committed indeed, but basically not bad bite, pretty good balance, and momentum still intact. And now coming up into Hobbs corner, down into Mike Knight, and then into last corner, and that will be the completion of what may be in reality his only opportunity this afternoon. Oh, and on the very ragged edge,
and he's got it. 1:10.218. Ayrton Senna has taken away pole position from Michael Schumacher.
And Schumacher ready to respond, but I would just hope we could stay with Senna to see in fact whether my prognosis of what the strategy in qualifying is going to be like. Has he got enough life in that set of tyres, his second set of tyres, to further improve on his provisional pole time 10.218? Well, in fact, he's backed off, and either he's going to make it into the pits, or as we've seen previously, he might have a second stab. But I suspect that he's been in touch with the pits via the radio. He knows that's a pretty good effort. He will know from his own effort. Now let's watch, coming through last curve, how wide he lets the left of the car drift out.
Well, Senna, nice slide. We'll be back after the break here on Eurosport. Session for the Pacific Grand Prix, and of course you can follow the whole Grand Prix weekend here on Eurosport. Michael Schumacher being demoted to second by a brilliant lap by Senna, I would say, John.
Pretty good. I mean, it was a big commitment from Senna. There was not a millimetre of racetrack that was spared, and he has got provisional pole. They're going to this now back into the Benetton Ford camp. Schumacher on an out lap, and one has to wait and see whether he has got anything remaining. And he is the man that effectively has been very dominant from the moment he arrived. Senna did nick the quickest time this morning, and Senna again responded, or Schumacher again responded this afternoon. Initially having provisional pole, Senna's grabbed it back, and now, well, Michael Schumacher, and that's a mistake. He's run wide in the outward curve, and he's lost tenths as he comes back onto the quickest part of the circuit, the straight.
So Schumacher being 0.7 of a second down on Ayrton Senna. And John, if your predictions are right, which I assume they are, it's one lap and he's blown it.
I think he's blown it because it looked good all the way down to outward curve. Maybe a little bit of overconfidence, a little bit too much desire to regain his provisional pole. Lost the momentum, 0.7 of a second at that intermediate point, and now we'll know the truth. And I suspect that Michael Schumacher has lost the opportunity to hold provisional pole. 11.361, and that's a significant amount slower than he achieved on his first, almost a second slower. Flavio Briatore, disgusted. He knows, Michael, what have you done?
Well, Michael Schumacher and Ayrton Senna has got provisional pole, a 1:10.218. Then it's Michael Schumacher, a 1:10.440. Damon Hill, a 1:10.771. Then it's Häkkinen, Berger and Brundle following in 5th and 6th. Well, Schumacher very slowly going back to the pits, or is he gonna try another lap? And for us, people have got to live off a television screen, by the way, the Michael Schumacher car has got orange patches on the front, and they're not on Jos Verstappen's car, so it should be a little easier to identify those if you have to watch it on a television screen. Well, Senna and engineer David Brown, how can we make this car go any quicker, and do we really have to go any quicker today, while Michael Schumacher gives it another shot? Johnny's, maybe he's let the tyres down. I mean, the temperature sort of let the whole car settle, and
I think he really has to compose himself. I think that he was so anxious when he saw Senna's time to regain his pole, provisional pole, to regain the domination that he came here, and certainly on Thursday indicated that he was going to have. That has ebbed away. Williams recovered brilliantly indeed. Senna on provisional pole, and that changes the whole psyche of qualifying. Of course, 83 laps of a Grand Prix, totally different ball game, but the battle that's going on between Schumacher and Senna, this war of psychology, and both are pretty good masters at that skill, is, I think, very intriguing, and certainly adding to my enjoyment of the 94 Grand Prix season. And we're only in the second Grand Prix. There's a lot more left this year. Again, locking up that right wheel isn't going to do an awful lot, and as we've seen, I think, through these past 2 days, the edge basically has gone from the set of tyres. There is one lap in which you can go out and do a quick time. Well, small improvement over his first run, but of course it's all gone now, and Senna totally nonplussed by it. Yes, I've got provisional pole. Flavio, well, a wry smile.